What's going on, gents? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing okay. Now, this video is a video that I've been wanting to make for a little while, but in all honesty, struggling to think as to how I can convey my thoughts. This channel is not intended to be political in any way at all. I wanted this to be a space for all men, regardless of your political stance or worldview. Just to use as a hopefully somewhat helpful way of bettering yourself or improving on your self-development journey. But something I think is a big problem right now is the ability to say what you actually think. A lot of people are scared. A lot of men are scared to express their truly held beliefs through fear of what other people might say or how other people might react to their beliefs. And they're probably right to be scared. We live in a pretty divisive world right now. We live in a time where people are quite easily offended. And sometimes it's scary to express what you actually think because you're so scared of the potential cancellation or negative effects of your words. But bravery isn't the absence of fear. Bravery is where you do something despite fear. And I would say to you, if you have opinions and perspectives and truly held beliefs that you believe to be genuine, good for your community, good for wider society, and you are not spreading hatred, and you are not trying to divide people or hurt anybody, then you need to speak up. You need to speak up and speak up now. I want you to look back at history. In the last 100 years, you can see the actions of the suffragettes. They spoke up for what they believed in. At that time, it was very controversial. At that time, society was in a very different place. Women were not viewed as equals to men. And they stood up and they expressed a very controversial opinion. But as it turned out, it wasn't as controversial as they thought it was before they said something. And more people started to clamor and agree with them. And through many years of protest and standing up for what they believed in, we now live in a place where, at least in most Western countries, women and men are on par. And I like that. But as I said, at one point that was a very controversial opinion. You might have opinions today, or beliefs or ideas that could change the world and make it a better place. But if you live in fear, and you hold your tongue through risk of offending somebody, then you might never be able to bring those ideas to a point of reality. You might never be able to create the change that you would like to make. Jordan Peterson says that sometimes in order to think, we have to risk being offensive. Thoughts are going to be offensive. There's always going to be people who don't like or agree with what you've got to say. But sometimes you've just got to risk offending people to say what you really believe. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, which, regardless of our political stance, we can all call out for what it is. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. The way that certain groups of people are being treated right now, especially in the Middle East. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I'm a person with a more conservative background. Not the UK conservatism. I think that's a mess. But generally, socially, more libertarian, but politically, I would say more conservative. But I can see, through whatever identification you want to give yourself, I can see very clearly there's a lot of disgusting stuff happening in the world right now. And we need to call it out. Now, as I said, I don't want this channel to become political. I really don't. That's not the purpose of this. But I think you can use this as an example, maybe the political aspect and what's going on in the world right now, as a guideline as such, as to how to start living your life generally. It can be the little things. You've got a friend who keeps disrespecting you. Keeps, name calling you, or in front of people bringing up embarrassing moments that you've had. You should confront. You should say something. But you never have. Well, now's the time to say something. You've got people that in your place of work who are maybe just being gross with how they talk to people, speaking to people in a disgusting way. You should say something. You hear somebody on public transport being racially abused, or a woman being spoken to in a disgusting way by a man. You should say something. But we've got into a place in society, especially as men, where we are living in this coward-like state. We're living like cowards. We think things, but we are so scared to express our genuine thoughts. And I get it, the fear of cancellation is big. But at the same time, if you don't care what people think, so long as you are doing something ethically good, then you can't be cancelled. Because you can just say, I don't care. I don't care. I'm expressing what I genuinely believe to be true and right. I don't think I'm hurting anybody. I'm going to say it. I don't care if you disagree. I respect your opinion to disagree with me, but I don't care that you disagree at the same time. If you start living like that, you'll find that you relieve a lot of stress. You'll find that it's actually not as big of a deal as you thought it was to express what you genuinely believe. Look, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not spreading hate or bigotry or racism or anything like that with your opinions, then say what you think. In order to think, you have to risk being offensive. That's part of life. You're never going to please anybody and everybody with everything you say. You're just not. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with you. But very probably, if you express a genuine opinion and you express something that you believe to be the right thing to say, you might find that because you took the stand and you stood for what you believed in, that you inspire somebody else to do the same, just like the suffragettes did all that time ago. Just like Martin Luther King, when he was fighting for black rights in America. At some point or another, somebody was brave enough to take the stand. So if you have things to say that you believe are right, that you believe are just, if you are seeing some injustice and you want to call it out, call it out. Call it out. We never got to where we are today through people just staying quiet and shutting up, but we're starting to get there again. And I believe it's our responsibility as men to say what we believe in, even if it's controversial, even if it's unpopular. I believe it's our responsibility to do the right thing, even when it's difficult. We have such powerful bodies. We have such physical dominance in society. But we have become so mentally small and weak and fragile, and we're living in this cowardly state where we're just petrified to express what we actually think and actually believe in. And when we see injustice, we're scared to react to it and to challenge it through fear of what other people might say to our reaction to injustice. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. We must start calling things out if they need to be called out. We must start being a little bit braver. It is our responsibility. If you see something you don't like, if you feel that there is something that needs to be said, say it. Because I guarantee you that if you start doing that, you're going to inspire other people to start doing the same. And we might be living in a better world because you and people like you decided that they'd had enough of staying quiet and they began to actually stand up for what they believed in. Look, as I said, I don't want to make this too political. It's not. It's more about genuine day-to-day principles and how you live your life. I hope that this has helped in some small way. I found it to be a nice reflection for myself as well. And this is something I try and do, and in more recent years and months, something I'm trying to adopt. I don't like cancel culture. I don't like not being able to say what I actually think. I'm bored of it. I'm tired of it. And I think an increasing number of people are starting to feel the same way. Look, guys, if you took some value from this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to much more from me. Check out the links down below in the description of this video and comment your thoughts. As always, thank you for your time and your attention, and I will see you in the next one.